I think all of you have seen this wonderful documentary. When you start watching it, you go till the end and you receive the message. I think at the end what message has been given, the rest of the documentary, most of its scenes, they carry the same message. They tell that river Indus is like a human, sometimes very happy, jubilant. We see sometimes angry, and we see sometimes very peaceful. And at times, at the end, we saw that river Indus is also dying, and it's not dying alone. It's dying with all of us, as we are not respecting the nature. I'll start my discussion with Mr. Taman, who represents the Ministry of Climate Change, and last year he has written a wonderful report. I would request him to share some key points of his report that most of our audience who have not read the report, they should know. Let me say it in Urdu that our people who are here, they should also understand. आपने डॉक्यूमेंट्री देखी, डॉक्यूमेंट्री आप शुरू से लेकर एंड तक देखते हैं. जब शुरू में देखते हैं तो पहले सीन से ही आप जुड़ जाते हैं, आखिर तक देखते हैं और आपको डॉक्यूमेंट्री में लगता है कि जो रिवर इंडस है, दरिया सिंध जो है, ये बिल्कुल एक इंसान की तरह है. कभी बड़े गुस्से में है, कभी मोहब्बत का इजहार कर रहा है और कभी बड़ा पीसफुल है और बड़ा पुरअमन है. और आखिर में हम देखते हैं कि इंडस जो है वो मर रहा है किसी मुकाम पर, और वो अकेले नहीं मर रहा, वो हमारे साथ मर रहा है क्योंकि हम नेचर को रिस्पेक्ट नहीं कर रहे. तो हमारे साथ मौजूद है साद साहब से गुफ्तगू का आगाज करते हैं. साद हयात अमन साहब वजारत मौसमियाती तब्दीली जो है उसके रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हैं. गुज़िश्ता साल उन्होंने एक बड़ी ज़बरदस्त बढ़िया किस्म की रिपोर्ट लिखी मौसमियाती तब्दीली के हवाले से. मैं इनसे दरख्वास्त करूंगा कि अपनी जो रिपोर्ट है उसको, उसके जो चीदा नुकात है वो उर्दू में भी और थोड़े से अंग्रेजी में भी कर दीजिए. ये डिस्कशन हम साद भाई से और डॉक्टर हसन अब्बास से करेंगे और आखिर पे हम कोशिश करेंगे एक दो क्वेश्चंस भी आपसे लें. साद भाई.
Hello. Thank you for this opportunity, Azaz Syed. So first I'll talk a bit about it in English and then I'll tell you about it in Urdu also. So this work that we did, it's called Living Indus. You know, from the title one can sort of deduce that we're trying to help people, the citizens of Indus, understand that Indus is a living entity. We, over the past few decades, for a very long time, before the creation of Pakistan, we've been looking at Indus as we're only looking at the quantity, the water quantity. We're not discussing the ecology of the basin, of this river. So let me start with this thought, which we had. And that is that, we must realize that Indus is not in Pakistan. Actually, Pakistan is in Indus. Right? So this is so hold that thought. Now and then the second part of it, which is the climate change part. So, climate change has two aspects. For the world, climate change is a greenhouse gas emission decarbonization problem. But for Pakistan, we are not really a contributor to all of this. So how do we define this problem for us? For Pakistan, climate change then essentially becomes a water problem. Because if you think about adapting Pakistan to climate change, which is how do you, so I'll come to that part, but one thought before is that when we were evolving as a species, we were living in jungles, we were living in deserts, different habitats, and when we evolved, We said, let's cut the tree, make a house, provide us some shelter, let's dig a cave. But over time, we started adapting nature, changing nature around us to protect us. For example, this hall that we're living in, this didn't exist hundreds of years ago, or probably a few millennia ago. So that is how we change the nature around us. So nature will react. And now the nature wants its space back. So in this adaptation, and with Pakistan context, what we're saying is that if you want to adapt Pakistan to climate change, you have to adapt Indus to climate change. And if you adapt Indus to climate change, you can't do it with these concrete structures. You have to let nature take course. There are solutions which are based, the Indus will heal itself. What we have to do is that we just have to allow or set the ground for nature-based solutions and green infrastructure to let this river heal. And that is what living Indus is. That is the philosophy of living Indus. And then we look at the technical parts of it, and there are, we've provided this living list, this menu of interventions, which cuts across many areas. It cuts across, because when you realize, and the premise of all these interventions is that we have to realize that our connection with this river is not the same as it was a few decades ago. It's not the same as my father's generation. It's not the same as my grandfather's generation. We feed on this river. Everything that you see in Pakistan is pretty much there because Indus exists. And in this effort, we're trying to subliminally revive this connection between the river and the citizens of Indus through these 25 interventions. And it cuts across, but the focus is on green infrastructure. I've sort of gone too much into the philosophy of this, but this is very much an adaptation plan for Pakistan. And how do you adapt to climate change? So, basically जी मैं आपको so जो Indus है वो I'll be very brief. Indus basically हम Indus में हैं, हम इस दरिया में, और पाकिस्तान इस दरिया का हिस्सा है. So हमारी जो रिपोर्ट है उसका जो बेसिक मकसद है कि हम किस तरीके से पाकिस्तान को क्लाइमेट चेंज से बचा सकें. उसमें जो उसका अडेप्टेशन वाला पहलू है वो ये है कि हम चले जाते हैं चीज़ों के ऊपर, जिस तरह जो कंक्रीट पोर कर देंगे, डैम बना देंगे, जैसे डॉक्टर साहब ने बताया, ये सब गलत तरीके हैं इस दरिया को इस्तेमाल करने के. हमारा जो फोकस होना चाहिए है वो ग्रीन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में होना चाहिए. और ग्रीन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर से मिसाल जिस तरह दरिया के बेले होते हैं, जिस तरह आप दरिया को धक्के नहीं लगाते, जिस तरह आप दरिया में जो हम पोल्यूशन फैला रहे हैं, जिस तरह इतने बेइंतहा तरीके हमने लिस्ट किए हैं उस रिपोर्ट के अंदर जो कि इसकी एडेप्टेशन को के लिए तैयार किए गए हैं. इसके साथ जो इस रिपोर्ट में जो दूसरा पहलू है वो ये है कि हम दरिया को एज ए लिविंग एंटिटी एक जिंदा चीज़ के तौर पे पिच कर रहे हैं, जो कि हम पहले बात नहीं करते थे. हम दरिया को सिर्फ उसके पानी की मिकदार, उसकी थोड़ी बहुत ही उसकी ड्रिंकिंग वाटर की जो लिहाज से जो उसकी क्वालिटी है उस पर फोकस करते थे. हम उसकी बात कर रहे हैं कि आप दरिया और इस बेसिन की इकोलॉजी पे फोकस करें, और अगर आप इसको सही तरह कर लेंगे, इसकी एडेप्टेशन सही तरह कर लेंगे, तो फिर यहाँ का जो हमारा सर्वाइवल है, जो हम यहाँ ये दरिया हमें कम से कम पिछले 5000 साल से पाल रहे हैं, हम भी पूछ रहे हैं कि ये अगले 100 साल पालेगा कि नहीं पालेगा. और वो सिर्फ तभी पालेगा अगर हम इसकी पानी, हम डैम और इन चीज़ों पे फोकस करना छोड़ेंगे और हम इसकी जो इकोलॉजी है हम उस पर फोकस करेंगे.
Thank you, Saad bhai. Now we have wonderful Dr. Hassan Abbas, who's founding chairman of Azaz, a profit-owning, profit-making organization. But the actual introduction of Dr. Saab is that he is a critic of the current system. He is critic of dams and whatever we do. I asked Dr. Saab, how you see, are we genuinely concerned? Whatever has happened recently, that climate change has given us a shock, telling us that whatever we are doing is not good. So Pakistan and we people here, are we genuinely doing something to preserve the climate and the nature?
Unfortunately, we are not currently doing anything to preserve nature. We are not doing anything to adapt ourselves with the climate change scenarios which are being predicted by the scientists. And unfortunately, we are doing exactly the opposite. The thing that we should not be doing, we are doing that. First of all, I would, because this is all about Indus. So one of my friends actually said something very philosophical about Indus. He said that 70% of us are water. Every human being is 70% water. And that water is not static in our bodies. Water is coming in and going out. And in approximately 3 months' time, all the water that is in your body is replaced. So 3 months ago, you are 70% different. And where that water is coming from? If you are living in the Indus Basin, whether you are taking it from ground, whether you are taking a bottled water, whether you are taking it from a river, from a tap, from anywhere, that water is the water of the Indus Basin. So each one of us is 70% Indus River. So that is how important Indus River is for us, for all of us. We are all 70% Indus River. So given that thing, river came first, we came later. So therefore, Indus is our elder. We have to adapt to Indus, as the Living Indus report says, that we need to adapt to Indus, the way Indus moves around, the way Indus expands and contracts, the way Indus goes in peace, goes in anger, goes in, all those phases of Indus that we have seen. We have to adapt. And again, Taman Saab has mentioned about the green solution, the nature-based solutions. Now, the biggest and the overarching nature-based solution is defined in 4 words. And those 4 words are, let the rivers flow. Because if it is not flowing, it is not a river. And today, coming to the water economy, because at the end of the day, all the interventions that we are doing in our river system, they are for economic reasons. Whether we are building a dam or a barrage or a canal, whatever we are doing it for economic reasons. We want to grow food, we want to produce power, and with distribution of water, with distribution of power, come politics. Because politics play a great role, or power and water supply are a great these two are great political tools. And politicians use it, the countries use it. Water becomes political, and one country starts playing politics on water with the other country. And within the countries, there are politics between the provinces, and within the canal commands, the canal command areas of Pakistan, there are upstream farmers and there are downstream farmers. There are head farmers and there are tail farmers. And unfortunately, the way we have developed Indus River, as they were mentioning in the movie as well, that the Indus River had been developed since the mid-19th century in a very aggressive manner. So the way we have developed the river, that has created discord among the people. That has created feuds among the regions because of the way we are managing the river. You see, all great civilizations of the world have evolved around water sources. And what is a civilization? A civilization is a group of people who live united, who do common things, who create a common culture, who follow common traditions. That's what a civilization is. And that civilization comes through water. Therefore, water is the uniting force for the human beings. Then why water wars? Why water is today dividing us? The reason water is dividing us, because when you divide water, water will divide you. Division of water is wrong. The concept of my water, your water, his water, her water, their water, our water, this is a wrong concept. Water only belongs to the river. Let the water flow in river and adapt accordingly. And that is the way you should develop your economic models. That is the way you should develop your culture. That is the way you should develop your trade and commerce. And that kind of model where a river is flowing, a flowing river will take care of its ecology. You don't have to go around and plant mangroves. You don't have to bring fish from somewhere and plant the seeds of that fish in certain reaches of the river. No, the river knows how to take care of itself. Just let it flow and it will take care of not only itself, it will also take care of you. Thank you.
डॉक्टर हसन अब्बास ज़ैद के सरबराह हैं, अंग्रेजी में उन्होंने बताया। मैं चाहूँगा कि ज़रा थोड़ा सा उर्दू की ऑडियंस के लिए भी थोड़ा सा अपनी बात की समरी ज़रा दे दीजिए।
एक्चुअली लोगों के रिस्पांस से ये चीज़ पता लग जाता है कि वो अंग्रेजी बड़ी अच्छी तरह से समझ रहे हैं। तो मोटा मोटा तो मैंने जो है वो बात यही की है कि दरिया को चलने दो। चलता हुआ दरिया बेहतर दरिया है। चलते हुए दरिया जो है वो लोगों को मिला के रखते हैं, रुके हुए दरिया लोगों को डिवाइड करते हैं। हमने जो बदकिस्मती से 19वीं सदी से जो हमने इसका एक तरक्याती मॉडल सो कॉल्ड बनाया है, उसमें हमने तमाम वो मॉडल्स अपनाए जो लोगों को डिवाइड करते हैं। और लोग उस वक्त डिवाइड होते हैं जब पानी की डिवीजन होती है। अगर पानी को आप डिवाइड ना करें, पानी को आप मुश्तरका सोर्स के तौर पे इस्तेमाल करें। यानी आप अभी जो नया पैराडाइम है इसका पानी के मैनेजमेंट का, उसमें पानी को तकसीम करने की बात नहीं की जाती, पानी के फायदों को आपस में शेयर करने की बात की जाती है। तो हम डिवीजन से शेयरिंग के ऊपर आ रहे हैं और यही तरीका है। इसी तरीके से जो दरिया सिंध है वो अगर हम उसको चलने देंगे तो वो हमें चलता रहेगा।
One quick question from both the panelists, and then I'll open the floor for the questions. Anybody amongst you can ask the question. Dr. Saab and Taman Saab, there are two ends. One end is the state, which is trying to do what they understand to do, and the other end is the people. We, you, me, and everyone over here. So, our end, what should we do at our end? This is the question from two of you. एक भी किसी भी सिस्टम में दो एंड्स हैं। एक रियासत जो कुछ कर रही है पानी के लिए और क्लाइमेट चेंज के लिए, मौसमियाती तगय्युर के लिए, और एक हम क्या कर रहे हैं। तो हमारे हवाले से जो हम कर सकते हैं उसके हवाले से मेरा दोनों मुअज़्ज़ज़ अराकीन से सवाल है कि हम क्या कर सकते हैं। जी, एनीबडी।
Thank you. So I think it's सबसे valid जो आपने बात की है. I think I'll try to be very brief, and I think because I'm very clear on this that the government should not play with the river, and at the same time, if as citizens, we're citizens of Pakistan, we're citizens of this Indus basin. We have to actually revive our connection with this river. Our approach and our outlook on this river is very narrow. Our approach is very much about tourism, dam, irrigating our crops. But the word India came from this river. Basically, the word Hindu sort of came from this river. So our this river has defined us and we don't know. So that's the first thing we need to do. And in response, we should not respond to what the government does. The government should respond to what the people want from this river. And then once the people create this demand that rebuild our connection with this river, the government should facilitate that. And I think that's what I. तो मैं ये कह रहा था कि जी आई थिंक इस बहुत ज़रूरी चीज़ है जो हमें समझनी चाहिए मेरे ख्याल में और मैं इसमें काफ़ी हद तक यकीन रखता हूँ कि हुकूमत को दरिया के साथ कम से कम खेलना चाहिए और जो हम लोग हैं पाकिस्तानी हम ये दरिया इस दरिया ने हमें डिफ़ाइन किया है इस दरिया ने हमें बनाया है इस दरिया ये जो लफ्ज़ इंडिया है जो लफ्ज़ हिंदू है ये सब इस दरिया से निकले हुए हमारा कल्चर है और इस हमारी जो सबसे पहली चीज़ हमें करनी चाहिए हमें अपना इस दरिया के साथ कनेक्शन दोबारा बनाना चाहिए वो टूट चुका हुआ है हमने कनाले बना दिए हैं हम डैम पे हमारी जो हम जो उसको देखते हैं हम उसको देखते हैं कि यार मछली खा लेंगे यहाँ वहाँ घूम फिर लेंगे राफ्टिंग कर लेंगे हम अपने होटल बना लेंगे डैम बना देंगे बिजली पैदा करेंगे जैसा डॉक्टर साहब ने कहा है हमारे इकोनॉमिक मॉडल बिल्कुल गलत है तो हमें डिमांड पहले कनेक्शन बना के फिर हमें डिमांड एक प्रॉपर डिमांड क्रिएट करनी चाहिए सिटीजन्स और उसके बाद हुकूमत को उस डिमांड पे रिएक्ट करना चाहिए तो मैं ये समझता हूँ
ये बहुत दिलचस्प क्वेश्चन है आई विल फर्स्ट स्टार्ट इन इंग्लिश दिस इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन I would mention a historical event. It was 1954, I guess, and there was a meeting in Rome on Indus River. The participants were India, Pakistan, and the World Bank. And it was the time when Indus Water Treaty, I call it a so-called treaty, was being negotiated. And there were so many meetings, but this meeting was very peculiar. Because during this meeting, Indian delegates were almost a spectator, and the discussion of building dams and barrages and diversion canals, it started revolving around the issues between Pakistani Punjab and the province of Sindh. So the whole discussion was between the two federating units of Pakistan on the impacts which the downstream community thought they would face if so many diversions and dammings are developed upstream. And guess what? The next year, Pakistan was declared one unit and the voice of the people was eliminated. When you talk about the state and the people, I mean, the state should not forget that state is because of the people. People are not because of the state. And state is working for the people. People are not working for the state. And the decision making on any project, big or small, should not be without the involvement of the people. Because people know the best. You ask people of, for example, Karachi to pay for dam fund. You make it compulsory for them to pay for dam fund when they buy a train ticket. And there are so many other places where this had been happening. My question is, the dam that you are creating, if even that is built, how would it solve the problem of the people of Karachi? That dam is somewhere close to Gilgit, Kohistan, wherever. The dam is complete. How it impacts Karachi? How the people of Karachi would have a better quality of life, better quality of water. So the things are not connected. Today, the river management is never done on mega projects. Mega projects are being dismantled all over the world. And more cultural things related to the river, more local economy related to the river is coming in these days. And that is the kind of opportunities we have for the Indus Basin. Actually, Indus is such a beautiful and such a unique river system in the world that it had been the cradle of civilizations few thousand years ago, and it can once again become a leading role model for the rest of the rivers of the world. It has that kind of potential, but we have to realize that potential. The Living Indus report actually touches upon that potential and suggests so many things that could be done within this river system, but at the same time, without involving people, I think the things will not move forward. So involvement of people is most important. Well, रियासत जो कुछ भी कर रही है, मैंने थोड़ी सी मिसाल दी कि जब रोम में एक मीटिंग हुई, उसमें जो डिस्कशन थी वो इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के बजाय पाकिस्तानी पंजाब और पाकिस्तानी सिंध के दरमियान ज़्यादा शुरू हो गई, तो अगले साल पता चला कि पाकिस्तान 1 यूनिट बन गया, वेस्ट पाकिस्तान 1 यूनिट बन गया। और फिर जो भी डिस्कशन होती थी उसमें वो कहते थे कि 1 यूनिट इंडिया का है ईस्ट पंजाब और 1 यूनिट पाकिस्तान का है वेस्ट पाकिस्तान। तो इस तरीके से रियासत ने लोगों की आवाज़ को दबाया और सप्रेस किया। अगर वो लोगों की आवाज़ ना दबाई जाती तो शायद दरिया की इतनी बुरी हालत ना होती जो इस वक्त है। तो इसलिए लोगों का जो लोगों की शमूलियत किसी भी डिसीजन मेकिंग जो है आपकी उसके बीच में, उसके बगैर रियासत को नहीं करना चाहिए। रियासत को अपने आप को लोगों से इलादा नहीं समझना चाहिए। रियासत लोगों की वजह से है, लोग रियासत की वजह से नहीं।
बहुत शुक्रिया। नाउ ओवर टू द पार्टिसिपेंट्स जो सवाल करना चाह रहे हैं। एक हाथ खड़ा हुआ मुझे नजर आया, आपसे दरख्वास्त है कि अपना नाम बताइए और अपना इंट्रोडक्शन करवाइए और प्लीज सवाल कीजिए।
ये सवालात भी दोनों ज़ुबानों में कर दें, इंग्लिश उर्दू में या एक ज़ुबान में। ओके, ज़ुबैर तोरवाली नाम है, बारहन सवात से ताल्लुक़ है, पहाड़ों से और दरियाओं में पला बड़ा हूँ, उनसे बहुत प्यार मोहब्बत है, उनके सारी कहानियाँ उनसे जुड़ी हुई हैं हमारी लेक्स के साथ और फेरीज के साथ। इंडस रिवर जब इसका नाम हम सुनते हैं तो हमारे जहन में एक बहुत ही देवमालाई कहानियाँ, एक बहुत बड़ी तारीख आ जाती है, एक बहुत बड़ा सिविलाइजेशन आ जाता है। लेकिन आपने जो स्टेट की बात की कि जो स्टेट मुदाखलत करती है, आई विल yesterday I saw a picture of Indus River in Dasu in Kohistan. It was diverted into a tunnel, so it was so terrible, a terrible picture. I saw that there was no river Indus on the original where it was good flowing. Secondly, so I think that as you mentioned that the archaic Pakistani state is still trying to do things which are no more appreciated in the world. The big dams, some other things. And same is, I will let you, there is another river which is a tributary of Indus River, and that is also very connected with the ancient civilization Gandhara. That is the river Swat, Suvasto. So in my area, from Bahrain to Kalam, the government is now building three hydropower projects and entirely diverting the river Swat into the tunnels in the mountains. So these things have really destroying not our culture but our well-being with our connectivity with the river, and also the ecosystem, disturbing the entire system. So I would recommend and I would request that the state should go for some alternative, something alternative, something very feasible for the people. Thank you.
नसीर मेमन साहब से भी सवाल ले लेते और फिर इकट्ठे ही जवाब देते हैं। आते आप तक ये
सेशन भी शुरू हो रहा है, मुझे पहले जवाब दिलवा देंगे तो मैं
जी प्लीज।
Sorry, now Chavi Shruti. Acha, okay, all right. Thank you very much. I'm Nasir Mehman. I'm a writer. I'm from Sindh province, and also I'm a student of water sciences country, working on few flood-related projects. First, my compliments to FNF on this wonderful documentary, very educative, very emotive. Hassan Saab, as a resident of Sindh, whenever I hear, I take it as a personal offense when somebody sitting in Islamabad in Lahore says that the water flowing below Koti is the west. I take it as a summing up my thoughts, I just want to understand from you, are there any models in the world where this water mega projects and blue economies and everything have been harmonized with the nature in a way that on a soil there are crops, there are dams, there is electricity and there are everything, but yet the ecological health of river and people has also been respected and preserved? Are there any models that we can find? Thank you.
थैंक यू हेमंत साहब, आपका 11 क्वेश्चन है इसका. His question is that is there an economic model where the river is running free and everything is being done? Yes, there are more than one such models which are in the world, and there are many which are evolving, because when we learned to bulldoze earth with the help of gasoline powered engines, we thought we can tame the rivers, we can flatten the mountains, we can conquer the world, we can conquer nature. But in 100 years of such development paradigm, the world has learned, human beings have learned, the knowledge base has evolved that those things are not right. And there are so many river systems in the world which are now being dismantled and being harmonized with nature. Alba River humanity ever had. And that is our greatest asset. You see, just go back 60 years, what was the television like? It was a tube showing some black and white images. And what is the television of today? It is smart TV. So the people who made that black and white TV, they were not stupid. And the people who are making smart TV, they are not too smart. They were as intelligent people back then as they are now. The only difference between their product is due to the knowledge base. Because they work with a smaller knowledge base and their inventions and their creations were rudimentary. Today, with a better knowledge base, wider knowledge base, we are doing much better. These dams, the major infrastructure projects which are built on the rivers, for hydropower and for storage, they are the thought of at least 100 years ago, especially large dams. So a lot of knowledge base has been developed in the field of hydrogeology, hydrology and nature-based solutions. Simultaneously, the major destruction that has come to the rivers is for the sake of hydropower, and today solar power is 100 times cheaper than hydropower. So the damming of a river for building for hydropower doesn't make economic sense anywhere in the world. So in Europe, every 2 weeks a dam is being dismantled. In America, North America, every 2 weeks a dam is being dismantled. They are dismantling those structures because they know that a flowing river would give them better life, better economy, and they can produce this power with solar and wind. So let's not go back and do the things and do the mistakes which our ancestors have made, our elders have made, and the mistakes which have been made elsewhere in the world. We should grasp the latest knowledge at hand, and believe me, knowledge has solutions to everything. These sustainability goals, Millennium Development Goals before that, and all this hue and cry of climate change and everything, it is being driven by the economic advantage that people get when they get closer to the nature. Electric cars are not coming in because people love electric cars, people love environment. They are coming in because they are better. They are cheaper to make, they are cheaper to drive. That's why they are coming in. And automatically, when you are getting closer to the nature is favoring you. Thank you.
बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत ही खूबसूरत बात यहाँ पे चल रही है। शाहिद रहमान मेरा नाम है, नीलम आज़ाद सैयद से मेरा ताल्लुक़ है और बकरवाल मोबाइल स्कूल जो बकरवालों के साथ पहाड़ों पे जाते, हमारा फितरत से ज़्यादा ताल्लुक़ है, बहुत करीब रहते हैं। तो सदियों से ये जो दरिया चल रहा है, सारा कुछ है जिसके साथ हमारी सकाफत जुड़ी हुई है और भी सारी कुछ है। और ये तो चूँकि अभी माहौलियात की वजह से पानियों पे भी असर पड़ा है। तो मेरा सवाल आपसे ये है कि कौन से फैक्टर्स हैं कि कभी हम जंगलात के पीछे पड़े हुए, जंगलात काट रहे हैं जिनकी वजह से माहौल पे असर पड़ रहा है और बारिशों पे भी, और सारा पानी कम हो रहा है। और एक और माफिया जो लैंड माफिया है, जो हाउसिंग सोसाइटीज बना रहे हैं, ऐसा मैकेनिज्म क्यों नहीं बनाया जा रहा कि इन लोगों को रोका जाए, हमारे पानी को महफूज किया जाए, हमारी नस्लों को महफूज किया जाए? क्या ये हुकूमत की गलतियां हैं या आवाम की गलती है? शुक्रिया।
मुझे सिर्फ ये थोड़ा हो रहा है कि सेशन क्योंकि और भी है इसमें लाइन है, तो हम जरा क्वेश्चंस को जरा
क्वेश्चन उनसे साथों से भी ले लें, फिर बैठिए।
जी, मेरा नाम जुबैदा बिरवानी है और मैंने पिछले 15 साल से इंडस रिवर और कोस्टल कंजर्वेशन पे काम किया है। मैं सिर्फ ये जानना चाहती हूँ कि ये रियासत हमें कोई ऐसा जहां बनाने देगी जहां हम पूरे पाकिस्तान के लोग खड़े होकर ये कह सके नो फर्दर कट्स टू इंडस और वी नीड वाटर फॉर नेचर। तो उसके बाद शायद ये पाकिस्तान की जो इकॉनमी और हारमनी जो हमारे पूरे फेडरेशन के दरमियान है वो रह सके। क्या ऐसा जहां हम बना सकेंगे या ये सिर्फ विश की जा सकती है?
मैं कोशिश करता हूँ मैं सारे सवालों का इकट्ठा जवाब दे दूँ।
मेरा नाम डॉक्टर फातिमा हसन है, कराची से ताल्लुक़ है, लेकिन मैं 2010 से सैलाब ज़दगान के साथ काम कर रही हूँ और वो भी खैरपुर नाथन शाह के। मुझे अभी रिसेंटली हमारे एक बलूचिस्तान के शायर हैं अता शाद, उनकी बरसी भी थी, तो उनका शेर है कि सैलाब को ना रोकिए रास्ता बनाइए, किसने कहा था घर लबे दरिया बनाइए। तो आप लोगों ने यही बात की है, लेकिन मेरा सवाल ये है कि क्या ये जो सैलाब का पानी है जिसने अभी हमारे सूबे सिंध को बुरी तरह डुबो रखा है, क्या इससे रिवर इंडस को फायदा पहुंचाया जा सकता है और क्या रिवर इंडस के जरिए सैलाब ज़दगान को बचाया जा सकता है? ऐसी कोई तजावीज़ है आप लोगों के पास?
शुक्रिया। तो मैं एक चीज़ पहले बताऊंगा कि जो इंडस है ना जी, मैं कोशिश करूँगा उर्दू में बोल देता हूँ कि इंडस एक तो जो हमारा ग्लेशियल मेल्ट है वहाँ से आता है और दूसरा मानसून्स। तो इस साल जो सैलाब आए थे उसमें मानसून्स का बड़ा किरदार था, बिकॉज मानसून बजाय जाके पहाड़ों को लगे वो चले गए बलूचिस्तान वाली साइड पे और इस तरह। तो मेरे कहने का मकसद ये है कि इंडस को चलाने के पीछे दो बहुत बड़ी ताकतें हैं, एक हिमालय और एक मानसून है। इंडस हमें खुद ही बता देगा किस तरह ठीक करना है, बिकॉज ये सैलाब काफ़ी बड़ी निशानी थी और गलती हमारी सिर्फ एक की नहीं है, गलती हुकूमत और हम सब की है। तो हमें इस चीज़ का पहले एहसास होना है और वो हमें एहसास इंडस दिलाएगा, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है मेरे दिमाग में। जहाँ तक रही बात जो लोग अच्छा काम कर रहे थे, वैसे लेमन साहब को मैंने चीज़ कहनी थी कि न्यूजीलैंड में उन्होंने बड़ी ज़बरदस्त नेचर बेस्ड उन्होंने अपने रिवर्स को राइट्स दिए हैं जो एक हुकूमत अपने सिटीजन्स को देती है और उन्होंने बेसिकली उस दरिया को आवाज़ दी। तो जब आप उसको आवाज़ देंगे और फिर आप उसको सुनेंगे, अभी तो कोई सुन नहीं रहा, तो इसलिए उसने बेसिकली मैं फिलोसॉफिकली बता रहा हूँ कि उसने शोर मचाया और सैलाब ले आया. So
thank you very much. मैं तीनों questions को थोड़ा touch करूँगा. The first question is about north in Neelam Valley. Then there's coastal areas regeneration, and then in between there's Khairpur, again down south but not close to the sea. Starting from your question about Neelam River, and then there was another comment that the tunnel which has been made, this comment from your side, sir. A tunnel was made and the river is now dry, it's going through the tunnel. That's the kind of model has been applied on the Neelam River as well. And on Neelam, unfortunately, there are two tunnels. One made by India on Kishan Ganga and another one made by Pakistan, which is called Neelam Jhelum. And I had been a very passionate traveler of this Neelam Valley. I had been spending nights at Taubat and those kind of places. So I have seen this valley in 1995. That was my first trip over there, and since then I have been going there frequently. And I know how the river system, the entire valley, the way it has degraded. You are from that area, you know it better than me, and you know the impact that people have on it. And unfortunately, those two power projects, either of India or of Pakistan, they are completely useless. They are very expensive for the taxpayers of both countries. But nevertheless, both countries just did it because it was political. And that politics, which started in 1951, actually 1948, when the two countries started kind of saying, my water, your water. That is where it started from, and that is where it's going, and there is no end to it. Unless the governments on both sides realize that they are not doing any good by doing this kind of projects, there is no end to it. Then your question about the coastal restoration and stuff, it is a very important work that the communities are doing in order to restore the degraded coastal areas, like planting mangroves and stuff. But unfortunately, the coastal communities can do only this much. They can only treat the symptoms. Mangroves are disappearing, they can replant the mangroves. But why mangroves are disappearing? There is a reason behind it. The cause. And nobody is addressing the cause. You plant the mangroves, 10 years down the road, they will go away. Because the cause is not being addressed. And the cause is, now I'm coming to relating this thing to your question. Darya mein ghar mat banao. Beautifully you explained it in a verse. Can't repeat that exactly. You know, encroaching into the rivers. The biggest encroachment in the river is a dam. And it promotes all the smaller encroachments. It facilitates all the smaller encroachments. Now we, after so-called Indus Water Treaty, we built 6 large dams. 1 was through Colombo Plan, 5 were through Indus Water Treaty. 3 in India, 2 in Pakistan. Besides playing havoc with the natural flow regime of the river, they also play havoc with the silt regime of the river. Now what is silt? ये वो रेत और मट्टी जो दरिया के बीच में चलती है ना, that is silt. That silt is being blocked in those dams. One, that it is making those dams dysfunctional with the passage of time, because the reservoirs they call so-called storage is being filled up by the silt. Then that silt which was supposed to reach Indus Delta is not reaching there. Indus Delta is not being choked for its water supply, it is also being choked for its silt supply. And silt supply is as important in Indus Delta as is water. Even if you release water, even if this rain fall, recent floods, it brings a lot of water to Indus Delta. It is not doing too good to Indus Delta because rainwater is without silt. The river that flows from the mountains, it carries with itself that silt which replenishes the soil, which replenishes the habitat for the mangroves, and which prevents the salt water and seawater intrusion into the Indus Delta. So we have topsy-turvy everything, and this is high time that we realize that we made mistakes. Unless we don't realize that we made a mistake, we are not going to rectify it. And let's not blame someone. People made mistakes because of less knowledge base. Let's leave it there and accept that this is a mistake. Don't try to find out the culprit, whoever made that mistake, and just fix that mistake. And that is the starting point for now, and we have a lot of potential to make our world a better place.
Thank you. I've rarely seen such audience sitting in a very serious, on a very serious issue. Thanks to FNF and thanks to the panelists that they gave their precious time and their expertise. Thank you. Thank you.